Hello everybody, this is Snarist, and I'm back with the finale of my God of War 3 Chaos Mode walkthrough. This is part 20, Zeus boss fight. And there's a little bit of shop to talk about this fight, and it's not going to be the most graceful I've ever beaten Zeus in. But see, when he grabs you and does that thing where he drags you along the ground, there's not a lot you can do about that, because you can't really block it. You can parry it, I believe. But see, this attack he does, where he does the 1-2, if you let him get those two hits off and goes for the third one, you need to jump up and get on the other side of him and hope that he doesn't hit you. But otherwise, try to parry those first two attacks he does, and then hit him back with the Argo's Ram. The moment you get a chance to do the double heavy attack slam with the Nemesis Cestus, you can actually knock him up into the air, and you can grab him out of the air and slam him down. And if you keep on doing that, you can actually find a loop where you juggle him. I believe in this version of the fight you can do that. See, that's a dangerous thing as well. When he gets up in the air, don't try to jump after him immediately, because he'll hit you with the lightning bolts. So what you want to do is sort of follow along and wait for the second lightning bolt to pass you before you jump up and grab him. See, that almost hit me there. But yes, make sure to dodge left to right, and you can jump up and grab him, and you can keep him in a loop. And funnily enough, if you actually do that, and that's the final hit before you move on to the next phase, it automatically puts him into a grab animation, so you don't have to chase after him. It's really good. And you'll want to do the same in the second phase, except he's got a couple of new moves, including one where he lights the entire floor with electricity. You can parry that, but don't counterattack it. Just parry it and hold it. This one here. Yeah, so just hold the block there and he won't be able to hurt you. There's another one he does where he gets up in the air, but instead of trying to grab him, you need to stay away from him, or just wait for the right moment for him to dive down. Because he'll be up in the air for a couple of seconds and he'll dive down, and it doesn't matter where you are, if you're on the left or the right of him, he'll always track and follow you. That's what I mean, that attack there. If you don't get the first two parries, he'll do a big third attack that will do massive damage and very nearly kill you. Now, I believe he does do the dive kick. Yep, here it is. See, that didn't actually hit me. That should have, I think, but it didn't. So as long as you're standing directly underneath him, I don't think he can actually hit you. I don't believe you can block that either. You've really just kind of got to wait on one angle for him, and then dodge underneath him when he goes by you. Because I believe it has infinite range as well. Now that would surprise me. I just thought, what if I held down triangle and tried to launch him instead of doing the double slam? And it worked. So luckily this is the easiest, not necessarily the easiest phase there is. The next one is probably the easiest, but this is up there. The third phase is technically the toughest and the longest, but it's far from the hardest thing you'll be doing in this game. So don't get too carried away with timing. Yeah, see, that hit me. It tracks you and follows you. Luckily if it just nicks you like it did there, it won't do that much damage, but yeah. Just take care not to get too impatient, because it will be the end of you and you'll have to do this whole thing over and over again. As you can see, the time's already gone by 3.5 minutes. That's pretty long for a phase of the fight. Luckily I knocked him up. I think he was already planning to come down anyway. I believe if you grab him out of the air before he does his dive kick, you can catch him out, but I'm always too afraid to try it, because I don't know if you can actually do it or not. Maybe you can test it out yourself, but yeah, this isn't so bad, this part. And so in the second phase here, you'll be flying over to him, and it doesn't matter how much you hit him or what damage you do, it won't progress the fight any faster. You have to hold out against Zeus here until Gaia starts climbing up and she surrounds both of you. But the problem is the camera pans out further and further the closer she gets to the top. And when that happens, you can barely see anything. So this is the attacks he does. He does an overhead, and then he does an uppercut, and then he just immediately starts throwing lightning bolts towards you. And when he slams the ground and charges up, he'll charge forward and try to hit you. And then after he does that twice, he'll use the lightning bolts. So he's going to do the lightning bolts again. Yep. You can parry those a lot easier than you can in God of War 2, because in God of War 2 there's so many of his moves that you can't actually block, and so you've got to parry them, and it's a real tricky fight. I'm sure if I went and revisited that fight it wouldn't be as tough as I remember, but God of War 2 Zeus, I got such fond memories of fighting him for like 3 hours and never beating him, until eventually I did. But this is a really boring sequence. You just kind of keep your distance, and suddenly the camera starts panning out and becomes a little harder to see, especially because it's so dark out here, and those pillars obscure the vision. You can block these projectiles, but there's going to be a couple of attacks he does that you can't block. So yeah, just be mindful of that. And once that's all clear, you're going to be back into Gaia, going through some familiar terrain, except now there's some blood trails inferring that Zeus has been here, and you're just following him through. And then you come to the heart of Gaia, where you can see all these different things covering your heart again, but now you realise what that all means, and you know you can break it. So with the Nemean Cestus, go ahead and break these crystals, and then you can use your bow of Apollo to break the bramble on her heart, and just start wailing away at her, and you can get all your health back. If you're almost dead, then there won't be enough health there to get your health back to full, but it'll be close. And a lot of the moves he does in the first and second phases, he does in this one, except now he's going to rely a lot more on clones. And those clones are pretty easy to deal with, but now you don't have to be worried about using magic or going, holding back with it. You should have a little bit for your Blade of Olympus, just enough to get you by a little bit, a couple of cheeky hits, and you'll have plenty of magic to work with. And Zeus will come down and try to strike you, and now the real fight begins. Block, or parry, because he'll throw lightning bolts immediately, and now he's getting ready for the charge. Now, instead of charging himself forward, he'll send out a shadow clone. If you can block, or you can parry it, then you can charge it back forward, and you get a little bit of rage, and you also get a little tiny bit of magic. Not enough to make a difference, but, every little bit counts, I guess. And see, whenever Gaia's heart starts to glow, for the first time it does that, you need to let Zeus absorb it, because for some odd reason, the game doesn't let you progress through the boss fight until you let Zeus do this, which is really stupid. But once he does that, then you'll be free to, whenever the heart comes back up again and glows. By the way, these clones can sometimes do that triple hit combo in the first phase that he does, and you've got to be careful of that last hit. But luckily, it's not 2D anymore, it's 3D, so you can move away from it pretty simply. If the clones get a bit much for you, like he sends out more than one clone and they get too much, just equip the Nemesis Whip and use the Nemesis Rage, and it'll take care of the clones no problem. Okay, by the way, if you use Argo's ram counter on him too much, he does that slam attack where he comes down, and it's got a wide radius, pretty much covers the entire arena, it's deceptively strong, and yeah, just be mindful of that. So he's going to keep spamming lightning bolts, and I have a real hard time parrying it for some reason. By the way, yeah, Argo's ram counter, he launches himself up in the air and you can't really grab him anymore. You can sometimes do it, but not always. When that heart starts flashing again, you need to be careful of the clones, that they don't cut you off. And with the Cestus, because it does the most damage, just wail on her heart for a little bit until you get some health back, and until you turn it off. Because when you turn it off, he can't heal anymore. Otherwise you're going to have to repeat this fight quite a bit, because it'll go on a lot longer. Now it almost represents a new phase, and because we're getting pretty close to the time where Zeus is going to start spawning more clones in, like a lot of them, like up to 5 of them, then that's when you need to start using the Nemesis Rage, because not only is it going to clear them all out, it also does a lot of damage to Zeus. So when you do that and you're far enough away, he'll start throwing projectiles at you. Just be ready for that. And I'm building up my Blade of Olympus, and it's actually going up quite a bit. And it'd be a good way to get some extra damage on him if I need it. But yeah, so far we're most of the way through the fight. I haven't used my blade. I'm kicking his ass. And I've barely used my magic at all. In fact, no, I haven't used my magic at all. So he's on his own, apart from one clone off to the left, so be mindful of him. Don't let him catch you off guard. It can be a little hard to see things sometimes. I make a mistake with, again, blocking and pushing square, but releasing it too late, and so I do the spinning attack, and it costs me with a little bit of hits, and so I'm pretty sure I'm in his final phase, so I just pull out the Blade of Olympus and just start smacking him with it. Okay, now this is where it comes in. You see he's spawning clones in the air. Those clones will drop down and do slam attack, but it's the last one you need to be worried about. Now the heart's come back up and he's going to try and steal its life force, so just hit these clones, this group of clones, with Nemesis Rage. And then when that happens, you just spam it Nemesis Rage, and I know that as soon as he starts spawning all those several clones in, he gets way more reliant on them. That's when Zeus is almost dead, so just keep spamming him with Nemesis Rage until he dies. And that should be enough. And it is. All his orbs drop, you just grab him, do your quick time event, and you've pretty much killed Zeus. That's all over and done with. I think it's disgusting how the only thing you get as an unlock for beating Chaos Mode is just a nice big tick next to that difficulty, as well as I think 1 or 2 costumes. I think that's all you get. There's not actually a trophy affiliated with Chaos Mode, which I think is kind of silly. I don't know why that would be the case, but have you noticed that a lot of PlayStation exclusive games tend to have the easiest trophies to get in terms of platinums? Like, even if there is a highest difficulty trophy, it's usually tied to some sort of DLC or some sort of bonus mode. You know, like how you got a PlayStation trophies and you've got the main game and then you've got like a separate sub menu. Well, anyway, Zeus is dead. This is still my favourite boss fight in all of the God of War games, even though it's pretty easy, all things considered. That's not the reason why I think it's my favourite. I just think there's a lot going for it, and you can really... It makes you feel powerful against Zeus, because you can actually do combos and shit, whereas a lot of the other bosses, you just feel like you're just smacking a big like brick wall or something. It doesn't really feel like a fight so much, because Zeus definitely is struggling as well, and that's part of what makes it so fun. Sorry about that. So you just go up and retrieve the Blade of Olympus, and he'll go into some sort of spirit form, and yeah, he puts you into a nightmare realm that I'm going to skip over because it's one of the slower, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of the section on multiple replays. It's really slow, really irritating. But once you come out of this, you'll be in first person, and you're just going to keep pushing square and triangle over and over again, whatever you want to do, and then you just keep mashing circle once you get the prompt showing, and then you'll be able to kill him. This is actually a costume you can get in the game at the end called Fear Kratos, and it has a unique property where you do 4 times more damage to your enemies, but they do 4 times more damage to you, and it's actually a really fun way to play. But I kind of wish you could just use the costumes without the bonuses, because a big part of the reason why you can't play the combat challenges, or you can't play through the game and have trophies enabled, they'll be disabled, is because of the bonuses of those costumes. But I think it should have been fair that you could disable the bonuses so that you could still get the trophies. It's just that Kratos looks a little bit different. I think that's the way you should have gone about it. But anyway, just beat him to death, and then stay for the lengthy cutscene, try to stab Athena, but you actually stab yourself, and then you just wait for the cutscene to end, and you're back at the main menu, and you're all done. And so my next series is going to be... I'm still going to stick with this game, but I'm going to be playing through the challenges of Olympus and the challenges of Exile. The Olympus challenges aren't super bad apart from one of them, and with the challenges of Exile there's about 2 or 3 of them that you're probably going to need some help with. But anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you so much for joining me on the series. I really love this game, it means a lot to me, and one of these days I'll have to find out how to emulate God of War 1 and 2 on the PC so I can play it. And I think as far as my next walkthrough goes beyond the challenge mode for this game, it's probably going to be Eternights where I do commentary for my expert mode walkthrough and pure Philip challenge run. And then after that, depending on when this video gets released, which will probably be maybe about mid-February, a bit onwards, by then, depending on what I can do with it, I'll probably have a walkthrough for Code Vein 2, and maybe even some guide stuff here and there for My Hero, All's Justice, because I'm looking forward to both those games. And I don't know if I have anything by then, but I might even be able to review the games by then, so things are going to slow down a little bit for me in terms of making new commentaries. But thank you for listening, and thank you for being here again. I'll see you guys in the next one.